All right, hello everyone, and welcome to our first meeting of the Shoeless Joe Book Club. Today we are discussing probably my favorite book of all time, Walden on Wheels. I don't know if any of you have read this with me here, if you're just waiting for me to give you this scoop. Why do I love this book so much? I love reading, I've always loved reading, but this book more than anyone has stood out to me. I read it every year, and it's the story of one man. It's his story. It's a memoir. It's tagged, so it's Walden on Wheels on the Open Road from Debt to Freedom by Ken Ilgunis. There's a picture on the cover of a van that he lived in. I don't know if that's the actual van, but he lived out of his van, basically, to stay out of debt while going to school. And that inspired me. And there's a big portion of that in the book, but the book is about so much more than that. It's really his journey getting there. Half the book, he hasn't even started living in the van. He goes to Alaska. He goes adventuring. And it's a story of him just questioning society and questioning himself and his beliefs and his values and what he wants out of life. So the story is fantastic. And then he's such a good writer. He is such a good writer. It's hilarious. It's witty. Oh, that's like the perfect book. It's so good. When I looked up at a dark Arctic night sky, I thought I could be something else. I didn't want a job, a salary, a home. I didn't want to be a bolt in the consumer capitalist machine or a boring PhD student. When I looked at the stars, I could see my path. I wanted to be a comet hurtling through the sky, governed by no one's laws or expectations but my own. Oh, and this was when he took an excursion canoeing. That greatly minimizes it. He was out in the wild and with just nothing but a canoe for a very long time. Let's just put it that way. He says, I felt like there was no discomfort that could be too discomforting. There was no day too long or load too heavy. I didn't miss toilets or showers or homes or cars or anything modern. For 2 whole months, I could carry just about everything I needed in the canoe or on my back with relative ease, making a whole houseful of needless stuff seem silly. There's so much packed in there. Not only is he saying, I had all I need in just the canoe, right? Thing to sleep on, stuff to eat. That's all I need. Which that alone is powerful. But I love that first sentence. I feel like there was no discomfort that could be too discomforting. Think about that. What are the things that we find uncomfortable? When people see me walking around with no shoes on or in just sandals in the middle of winter, they're like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. That's uncomfortable. Or sleeping without a pillow, or I don't know, just things like that. Intermittent fasting and going longer periods without eating. It's like, that's uncomfortable. Well, yes, it is uncomfortable at first. But once you get used to it, right, we adapt. We're humans. So, I love that. What wonders the human mind and body are capable of achieving. How so few know how much we can do. Our limits are merely mirages on the far side of the lake. We can see them ahead, but that's all they are, mirages. Our real limits are beyond the scope of our vision, beyond the horizon, a boundary worthy of our exploration. We think we have these limits, right? We think we have these limitations, but they're mirages. They're just something we've given ourselves in our head. And we can change that and realize, right, that we're capable of greater things. We're capable of great things. Oh, this is good. I no longer wished to have a deluded life, made faint by living according to the norms and values of an older generation who'd forgotten what it felt like to have the impassioned representatives of soul and spirit lobby their vessel with an unrelenting persistence to take them on an adventure. I realized the journey that I was on wasn't about getting out of debt or finding my perfect job or girlfriend or life. It was about becoming the best man I could be. I knew from experience that the only thing keeping me from turning back into the person I'd left behind in New York was voluntary simplicity. right? It's not about finding the perfect this or that or whatever. It's about becoming the best man I can be. And voluntary simplicity is such a fantastic shortcut to getting there, because you just cut everything else out and you just focus on it. Oh my gosh. I literally just, this whole page, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. So interesting. He talks too about in here, when he's talking about debt, he talks about how we might stay in debt because it's comfortable, and it's you have no choice. Like when I'm in debt, okay, well, I don't have any other option. I'm just going to pay it off. I have to have a job. I have to have this, that, and the other. And he talks about how we are caged, but the cage is comfortable, right? And we don't want to go outside of it, because then we have to start making other decisions. We have to get less comfortable. We're comfortable with that. We're comfortable with the status quo. And he says, sometimes it's not until you see your shackles that you see your dreams. The soul must first be caged before it can be set free. These are so good. These are so good. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Okay, so he climbed a mountain, long story short. But what he realized is something that's so true about our life. If you've ever heard the phrase, right, you need to live like no one else so you can live like no one else, right? It takes some craziness to have an awesome life. If you only do the safe things, then you will only have a safe, average life. He says, to get to the top of a mountain, you have to be half insane. The climber must approach his goal with a zealotry that may be inappropriate for normal, mundane things, but is essential for the grandiose. Oh, so many people tell me that I'm extreme. Aaron says to me all the time, like, isn't that a bit extreme? Don't you think that's kind of crazy? And I will say yes. Yes, it is. It is extreme. It is very different from the expected, from the normal. But if you want different results, if you want an exciting life, if you want adventure, if you want that, then you have to do crazy things that people are going to get a little cockeyed with you, right? And be like, oh, that's a little bit crazy. Yes, more about comfort. Discomforts are only discomforting when they're an unexpected inconvenience, an unusual annoyance, an unplanned for irritant. Discomforts are only discomforting when we aren't used to them. Ugh, so true. Like if I plan to fast, I'm like, okay, I'm not eating for this period of time. Even if it's for an entire day, I know I'm not eating for all day. It's planned, it's expected, and it's much easier to do than if I just suddenly can't eat all day, right? If I don't have time to eat, or something goes wrong with my food, my dog eats my lunch, whatever, then I'm like so angry and I get hangry and I'm like, discomforts are only discomforting when we aren't used to them. You will adapt. I love this man. Maybe we'll have him on someday, right? I'd love to have a cup of joe with this guy. You're so good. We need so little to be happy. Happiness does not come from things. Happiness comes from living a full and exciting life. I can seriously read this entire book to you, and I want to, but I'm not going to. If you haven't read it, I so strongly encourage reading this book, Walden on Wheels by Ken Ilgunis. If you have read it, what did you think of it? Did you have a favorite quote, or what stood out to you? Like I said, it's about so much more than minimalism. It's about life, the meaning of life, and debt, and friendship. He has this great friendship in here that he talks about. And so let us know what you think if you did read the book. If I'm the only one who read the book, what the heck? What is wrong with you? All right, I will leave you with one last quote. One does not become free simply by staying out of debt or living cheaply in large, creepy vehicle. Rather, we must first undergo a period of self-examination to see, for the first time, what nets have been holding us back all along. All right, remember, keep it simple, question everything, and stay radical. Love you, bye.